And now on the line is Margaret Golden, a co-founder and spokesperson of the Save Longwave 252 campaign. Margaret, welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much, Darren.
Okay, Margaret, could you start off by telling our listeners a bit about your background, please, and then tell us what the Save Longwave 252 campaign is all about?
Well, my name is Margaret Golden, and I've lived in Manchester in England since 1966, and I've always been a listener to Radio Éireann, as we used to call it. And over the years, we've enjoyed listening to the radio. But then, along to 2014, and RTÉ then, we were told we're going to close the station down. And one of my neighbours at church said to me, Margaret, what are we going to do? RTÉ is going to close. I won't be able to hear the GAA and I won't be able to hear Mass on Sunday. And that sparked my interest in the campaign.
Okay, so the campaign is going since 2014, is it, yeah?
Yes, it has. And along the way, we've had, between the Manchester Irish Parade, between research we've collected signatures, we've written articles to the paper we've had articles in the Kerryman, the Southern Star, the Northern Standard, the Dundalk Democrat, our own Irish Post and the Irish World here in England. We've also been on Sky TV. It's called Irish in the UK. That goes out every Thursday night by local Martin Logan and his wife Annette. So they gave us coverage on the importance of what RTÉ means to the community, to the diaspora abroad.
Okay, and what is the rationale from RTÉ's point of view in ending the service, Margaret?
I would say probably cost, but we have a great friend and fellow campaigner, ardent campaigner, Endo Kane in Dublin. He's a retired RTÉ engineer, and he understands and knows about these things. And he says if the dial is some countries have pulled out of the analog system. So if RTÉ were to move from 251 to 261, which wouldn't take a lot more money, we would have uninterrupted service. Radio Algiers cuts in, and a lot of the people in London cannot now hear RTÉ on the analog system.
Okay.
And
go ahead, yeah.
It was saying that the advantage of longwave is that it is extremely useful in cases where a very broad range is needed over a landmass in which there can be no transmitter. This is not the case in most countries, but it is the case in Ireland. And Ireland have the spirit under the Good Friday Agreement to reach the listeners in Northern Ireland. And RTÉ acknowledges that it's responsibility to us here in the UK. DAB or FM transmitters can't reach into Britain or Northern Ireland. So really, RTÉ have a duty to us, we feel, to keep the service going.
Okay. What would you say to the argument that RTÉ, I think, are making that most people nowadays use the internet, so they could listen to RTÉ on the internet?
Whilst a lot of people can, it's not just the elderly in the UK. We have friends who are much younger who are ardent GA supporters, and they want to continue listening on the radio. The older people, some would need. It was recognised through research that most people still want, whilst they may have a computer or they may have a TV, they don't want to be listening to RTÉ on it. They want to be able to switch on the radio and continue listening.
Okay. Have you met with the managing director from RTÉ, Forbes, and people like Rory Coveney, their head of strategy, about this?
Unfortunately, RTÉ don't want to. We've sent letters and emails to many of the people involved, but we don't get any reply. Some years ago, Myra Butler, we collected signatures, hundreds of signatures, and she went over with a delegation and they met Jim Jennings. So we did get extension. I mean, it was to stop in 2014. Then it went on to 2019. And in 2019, Hildegard Naughton, TD, she was chair of the Oireachtas Communication Committee. And she was assured by RTÉ that work that was done in the mast on 2019 would continue for a minimum of 2 years. And that would bring us up to this September. So now our push is, if we can get the dial moved from 251 at no great cost, then we should be able to carry on listening on the analogue system.
Okay, you mentioned Hildegard Naughton there. I know she's Fine Gael Galway West. Have you met any other Irish politicians about it?
Well, no, I've met Kieran Cannon when he was over the diaspora minister. He was over in the World Irish Heritage Centre here in Manchester, and we did put our views to him at the time. But Hildegard was our best person, really. She invited us over to the Dáil, and myself and Enda O'Kane met her at Dáil Éireann, and she continues to hold our case. But now, obviously, she's moved to another department, so we have to form friendships and get the interest of the other politicians, the diaspora minister, to take up our case and keep it going.
I know I've heard recently there are cutbacks in RTÉ. I know New York RTÉ on TG Car, or New York RTÉ produced the New York on TG Car. I know that there's cutbacks in that section of the RTÉ as well. Like, do you know how much money it will cost for RTÉ to keep the service on a different dial?
Well, it was muted at the time that the cost now was about €250,000. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not a great thing. RTÉ are supposed to have made, with the Brexit and lockdown, not Brexit, but with lockdown, they've made 5 million on their programme, so that will have pulled back some of the losses perhaps they've made. And we understand that cuts have to be made, but the diaspora in their time have sent millions back to Ireland, so now it's Ireland's turn, really. Even President Higgins, they all acknowledge the diaspora and how important we are to Ireland. So surely that amount of money, there are various funds that could be perhaps used to cover that cost. So we'll continue our campaign and see what best we can do. And thank you for helping us out by airing our issues.
Okay, that's great, Margaret. €350,000 is not a lot of money for something like this, I think, you know. Okay, just to come towards the end of the interview, do you want to tell our listeners on Near FM anything else about the future and your plans for the future in campaigning?
Well, we're still, I hope to write to the Archbishop in Dublin, because they have a diaspora chaplaincy section, and they know the importance that communication is here with the people at home. And also to the TDs, we'll be pursuing that. Martin Logan from our community, we have a community radio here in Manchester as well, and they're very supportive, and they will assist us in keeping going. So onwards and upwards.